rivalry with the Mets and Braves, crazy rivalry. We're losing 8-1 in the 8th inning, 7th inning, 10-run, 3-run homer, puts his hand.
Edgardo Alfonso had a big 2-strike hit before to tie the game, which for me really allowed me to relax. It was Terry Mulholland, and I'd faced him, I think, a couple times before. Lefty, he was like Al, he had a hard cutter. So it was impossible for me to try to look for the ball over the plate and hit the ball the other way. I said, listen, I hope I get something out. I had to get the bat head in front, and it stayed fair. It was almost like a Carlton Fisk type of moment. But yeah, the moment was great.
Honored to have Mike Piazza, a friend of mine for over 30 years or 40 years, long time. Amazing Conversations, Mr. Piazza.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Mike, so 27 years ago this month, probably the craziest week in your life, you win 3 teams within a week.
Mm-hmm.
The Florida Marlins, not the Miami Marlins, to the Dodgers, to the Florida Marlins, to New York Mets. Crazy week?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of started in spring training. The Dodgers were sold. The O'Malleys, who had owned the team for years and actually moved the team from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, Walter, and then Peter sold the team to Fox. And I think they were it was kind of the first real kind of corporate ownership in a way. I know Disney bought the Angels and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, since it was kind of quickly closed and they had signed Karros and Mondesi before me, and we couldn't agree on a contract, and then it was not a great time for me personally, but when I started playing well, I guess they figured, okay, well, we're not going to sign him, and so if he plays the rest of the season and we lose him as free agency, as a free agent, they're not going to get anything for me. So, I mean, it just so happened that they had the Marlins, which won the World Series the year before, and were dismantling a World Series team. So
first game is a shutout against the Brewers. Al Leiter, and that started a beautiful friendship with you and Al and John and a whole bit.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, that was the thing. When I came here, I didn't really feel special. I mean, I just came right in and felt like one of the guys. Everyone knew I was expected to have a role and a big role, but it wasn't like I felt like I was special. I mean, you can't be around those guys. They really love to bust chops, and it was, like I said, a real bridge between like the old school and the new school.
When you ever look back, the 2000 team win 94 games, battle the Yankees to lose 5 games by a total of 4 runs in the 5 games. You feel like they didn't get the credit that team deserved. We fell short. Dribble it up the middle in 12th inning in the first game, and it could have gone either way. I mean, 25 years.
Well, baseball is like that. I mean, I think you can see sort of common themes throughout the teams in the Mets that fell short. I mean, the 15 team, obviously, 2070 was 73, right?
Right.
They had arguably just as good a team as 69.
Right.
And 88, too.
Right.
So, listen, this is baseball. I mean, I think in one hand, you're obviously a little frustrated that you couldn't go the whole way, because I felt like that season we had a lot of momentum going into the postseason. And it just seems like, we got there, and then obviously Deal missing the home run.
Yeah, Timo run a little bit. Timo didn't run.
And that's just one of those things. Obviously, it's a mistake. I mean, it's a mental mistake. Yeah. And if the ball was up 2 more feet or 2 more inches, it might have been a different series. But that's baseball. And so I think rather than dwell on the negative, and you just thank God you were there. And we had a great team. We had a lot of energy. We had a lot of just great chemistry on that club, and very interesting bunch of guys.
2 games to now for me. In July, rivalry with the Mets and Braves is crazy rivalry. We're losing 8-1 in the 8th inning, 7th inning, 10 runs, 3-run homer, puts his hand.
Yeah, no, I mean, that game was a lot of fun because I think it was 4th of July, and we were getting blown out. And the reason why 50,000 people stayed is because they wanted to see the fireworks. So for them, probably like in the fourth or fifth inning. They're like, "Can we get this game over with
Yeah,
so
and
we
then-
can watch the fireworks?"
And-
And we end up mounting a comeback, and they just probably because of the game was long and people were partying and having fun. The atmosphere was electric. But as I've said many times before, Edgardo Alfonso had a big 2-strike hit
Right.
before to tie the game, which for me really allowed me to relax. Like I went up there and it was a different one. If he would have not tied the game there, I think my bat would have been taken on a little bit
Your
of a
ball
different.
had no. It was a strict line drive.
Yeah, I mean it was Terry Mulholland, and I'd faced him I think a couple times before. Lefty, he was like Al, he had a hard cutter, so it was impossible for me to try to look for the ball over the plate and hit the ball the other way. So I said, listen, I hope I get something out, and I had to get the bat head in front, and it stayed fair. It was almost like a Carlton Fist type of moment. And it's funny. I mean, I saw the next year, I think, the year when PNC Park opened in Pittsburgh, we had played one of the first games there. It was one of the last games of spring training.
Right.
And I hit an identical home run off Mulholland in PNC Park. And it was funny. I think we were in the gym after the game or something, and he was like, "Man, he goes, I don't understand. This is the second home run that I gave up like that on you." So
it was crazy.
Baseball's crazy, and that was, but yeah, the moment was great.
Like Juan Soto for a second. You had mentioned something in one of the newspapers. Juan struggling getting adjusted. He was kind of getting the rite of passage. Everybody's got to go through it. You went through it. Beltran, Lindor went through it. Tough coming to New York from Newmarket. And he moved around a lot. He just wasn't.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that. I mean, if you think about it, going from D.C. and San Diego, and then to the Yankees, and then here, I think human nature is that we want a routine. I mean, I like routine. Everyone likes routine, and so you're not really taking into account how much he's been moved around, and you come here, and the energy is different here. I mean, the Yankees obviously have their history and their expectations, but you come here, it's a whole different. It's literally like two planets. But listen, I said before. I mean, I think once you get going, and you got to have teammates. I mean, I mentioned teammates before. I mean, his teammates like Pete, Polar Bear, guys picking him up, picking him up. So it's going to happen. I think as long as he stays healthy, which is the most important thing, and positive and confident, it's gonna work itself out. Because let's be honest too, he's such a really gifted hitter, and gifted hitters too are not used to. I mean, you're not used to struggling at times, and so you have to get back to basics. Try to start small, get a base hit, get a walk. Try not to swing at bad pitches. When I was struggling as a hitter, I always kept it very simple, and I said, okay, I'm going to go out tonight. I'm going to get a hit and a walk. I'm not thinking about a grand slam home run, but I just want to get a hit the ball hard, and eventually it starts coming.
Was
around.
it tough for you to turn into booze? You got booed pretty good a couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it before. I mentioned my Hall of Fame speech. I mean, it's no fun. It's no fun getting booed. And you can go a couple of ways with it. I mean, there's two types of boo. Obviously, when I get booed at Yankee Stadium, it was out of respect.
Right.
But when you get booed at home, it's kind of like a kick in the ass. They want to get you going. Yeah, listen, that's when you have to really internalize and think about all the training you've been through, think about all of your experience, and block things out. I talked to Jim Leland when I played for him briefly with the Marlins. You mentioned the Marlins, and he said, listen, he said, if you're struggling and you're not doing the job, he goes, the last thing you want to do is not hustle. So hustle, you hit a ground ball, run it out, because it just, perception's reality. So if people think that you're sort of aloof and you're lackadaisical, it's not a good look. But we all get frustrated.
Right.
We all deal with frustration differently.
So Alvarez had 20 home runs a year or two ago, struggling this year. What advice, if you're sitting with me, would you give him? Supposed to be the number one catcher, still struggling a little bit.
Well, listen, he's a great kid, and I think hitting is very. The most difficult thing is, like I said, you got to get a good pitch. I think at times, just my personal feelings that he's just too much of a free swinger. I think, and when you start to press, you start to go out of the strike zone and swing at pitches. What you can't do anything. And as I said before, I mean, I hit 360 one year, and the only reason why I mentioned that is like I had to get 2 hits and a walk. You know what I mean? I like down the stretch, and I really concentrated on taking my walks. And as a hitter, you gotta know the strike zone. I mean, first rule of thumb, if you're struggling, you're probably swinging at crappy pitches. I mean, that to me is probably an obvious thing, and I don't even have to see any tape whatsoever. So start with hitting at strikes and taking balls.
Mike, you would, even when we talked about Alonso before, you never wanted to give him advice, but you always said you were happy he came back. He got to make his own decision, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he could be a Met for life if it turns out right.
Yeah, and it looks like he's hitting a lot better. I mean, we were just talking about hitting it. I love to see he's going the other way. It seems like he's not trying to pull everything. He's pulling the pitches he should pull. And, yeah, listen, I mean, there's a whole field. The field goes from here to here, right? And if you're just so concerned on pulling and pulling it, and now there's some great pull hitters. I mean, Ron Gant comes to mind.
Right.
Guys that just pulled a baseball and didn't hit the balls. But for right-handers, it really is an advantage if you can hit the ball to right field because you take away that outer third of the plate, which mostly hitters, pitchers try to exploit on guys that are pulling the baseball.
Like July 19th, David Wright's number gets retired in the Hall of Fame. What is your recollection of him, and what kind of a player do you think he's been was for the Mets?
Well, as I said before, I mean, David is a born and bred Met. He came up through the organization. He is from Norfolk, Virginia area, which the Mets AAA team was there for many years. So different than us. They're different than guys like myself, which I consider one of my badge of honors is like not a lot of players who didn't come up through the organization were embraced. Keith is one of those guys, obviously myself. So listen, I mean, he had a great career. I'm sure he'll tell you it was frustrating at the end getting hurt. I'm sure he could have put up some more numbers. Went to a World Series, obviously fell short. We're talking about tough breaks. But I think he was a real asset to the team on and off the field. He carried himself with professionalism and just represented the organization very well off the field as well.
September 13th, Old Timers Day game. Mets the Shea Old Timers against the City Field Old Timers. You're going to start taking BP a little bit?
Yeah, when I found that out and I was like, here we go again.
It's going to be fun.
Well, it's funny. I mean, when we did the London game last year, Daniel Murphy, I mean, it looked like he never stopped playing. So we have a distinct disadvantage in this game, the Shea Old Timers. But we're going to go out and gut it out anyway. Yeah, look, it's fun, man. You know, I think the fans, it's just about being back out there. And even my mother came to the last game a few years ago, and she said it was so good. She even said that. She goes, Michael, it was so good to see you behind the plate again. Yeah. Even though I couldn't walk for 2 days after because my knees were sore. But it's all for the fans, and they enjoy it. So, yeah, I got to start swinging again. And it was funny because even during batting practice, the last game, I was hitting and I looked up and I got blisters on my hands. So it was painful in more ways than one. So the pain we go through for you fans is really intense. But we're going to get it done. We
have about 40 players, and Terry Collins, Bobby V, Jerry Manuel, Willie Rams coming back. So it'll be a good group.
That's cool. Well, you know, that day, actually, the City Field goes through more ice than every other game combined because after the game, it looks like a freaking MASH unit after the game. A lot of bruises and a lot of old scar tissue. But as I said, it's for the fans. We have fun with it, and it's going to be a blast.
You're proud of you doing it, Nicoletta.
Yeah, Nicoletta.
Go Irish.
Yeah, no, I'm very blessed. She just graduated high school, and we're going to Notre Dame. She's going to Notre Dame. I'm going there too. I mean, I got to pay for it, so no. It's such a thrill. What a great school, being Catholic, and the tradition of Notre Dame is something.
George win one for the Gipper.
Yeah, the Four Horsemen. No. We're so proud of her, and she worked so hard. And yeah, God bless her. She's gonna have a great time.
That's great.
I get to have all the fun and not have to study.
Yeah, you have to. That's good.
Yeah, right.
gotta
So I'll
look-
see you at the games. I'll be
Yeah.
out there.
I love the band.
Oh, the band is great.
Band is
No,
great.
what a tradition, and it's such a beautiful school and a beautiful
Jewish
campus.
guy myself. I got to see Touchdown Jesus.
It's all good, man.
Tell me, being in Italy, I get most of. How do you follow the team? You get up with the time difference. Is hard. Yeah, watch any games live, or how do you?
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, it's tough. I mean, because my son is 11, so he's getting up 6:15, 6:20
Yeah.
local time, which obviously is 6 hours before. It's
Yeah.
after midnight here, so I can pick up the highlights when I get up
Yeah.
and I get him off to school. So I mean, the internet is great. You just see what happened. Usually, I mean, it's good when I get up. I'm in a better mood when I see the Mets have done well. Last year was tough, because they struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
So every day I would get up and I would just kind of go like this. But yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, as you can see last year, anything could happen. You just have to stay positive. They got hot at the right time. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when I first started going to Europe years ago, I mean, you couldn't even take your cell phone. And now it's like you could use your own number and you just get all the information like anyone else. It's
Every
crazy.
time we speak, it's such a bit of. I always ask the same question: Italian pizza, Chicago pizza, New York pizza. How would you rate them? Do you remember Gino's Eats from Chicago?
Yeah, well, see, in Italy, you have two types of pizza. You have pizza Napolitano, which is from Naples, the original
Right.
pizza from Napoli. And it's not big, right? So it's not like this. Like, it's not this big pie. And then you have Roman style, which is sottile, which means thin, thinner pizza. And generally, those are the two types of pizza from
Which
Italy.
is your favorite?
I like the Roman style generally because I don't like a lot of dough. I like obviously toppings and they either have like prosciutto cotto, funghi, which is mushrooms, salume, which is pepperoni here.
I've never met a pizza I didn't like much.
Yeah. And then New York style pizza, the big floppy triangles, they're good. They're tasty.
Yeah.
It's a more of a Italian American tradition. And Chicago deep dish pizza is kind of like thick,
So thick. 2 slices I was done.
Yeah, I mean, it's not it's not what I grew up on, so I'm
Yeah.
not really used to it. But some of them are good. I mean, it just depends. I mean, generally, again, it's all personal.
Before I have to mention your late father, Vince, who was a good friend of mine. Always looked forward to visit Philadelphia with the foot-long veal parmesan heroes. That I could still see him walking in. With
Yeah.
some big bag of heroes. Good man. Good.
Yeah, no, I miss him terribly, and yeah, he was a big part of my life,
Yeah.
and like you said, popular in the clubhouse.
Always popular.
Before they started making cheesesteaks,
Yeah.
in the clubhouse, we would go get him. He'd come in with
With his big
bags
sack of
of
veal
big
parmesan.
sacks of cheesesteaks.
Yeah,
So
well.
yeah, no, he loved the game, and yeah, I mean, it was tough when I retired. It was actually just as hard on him as it was on me.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, we miss him and just pray for him, remember him,
always
and
Vince is a good
yeah, and he's looking over my family. Obviously, I think he had a lot to do with my daughter, getting into Notre
Well,
Dame. So
well, I
it's
can
all
say
good,
is-
man.
Go Irish, Mike, and thanks for the time.
That's it. My pleasure,
Appreciate
Jay. Good seeing you, bud.